I would like to add an explanation of how we take and how not react to, that's the wrong word, how we handle the written comments of the people attending, because I don't see that we have written comments on here from the last time they may have been gathered, although I do see the comment. So I'd like to see it on here somewhere that we are actually going to, you know, do something, and also let everybody know what the parameters are.
Okay.
Okay.
We received one written comment.
We need to vote on the agenda.
Yeah. Is it seconded?
Yes,
Oh.
but with discussion, which we just, that was what I wanted.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Consider approval of minutes as presented.
I have read the minutes, and I motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
I've also read the minutes, and it really just sort of regurgitates the agenda, but I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay. Consider approval of vouchers as presented.
I also have read the vouchers, and I make a motion that we approve.
And I'll second with just two questions, just to kind of clean up housekeeping thing. Department of Revenue and Employment Security, the checks there for 2551 and 2686. Does that bring us completely current with them, or do we still have some owing interest rates or things like that from late payments
It's my understanding that it's totally current.
that were current? I guess I had three questions. I don't see on here a check for the our insurance, the port insurance, which expires tomorrow.
Right, there's a check that has been written for the port insurance. We have already renewed our
You can't hear.
Okay,
Jay said we've already renewed our port insurance.
it's on this list here.
It's not on that list, we've already renewed our port insurance.
When did we do that?
Last month, or this month, current month, August. So our insurance has been renewed.
Did we electronic pay that?
So that check would have gone through the county system.
It has not gone through the county system. The check is on route to our insurance company.
I see, we wrote it, but they haven't received it maybe, or it's in passing.
Unclear, it hasn't, we have no record of them cashing it yet, but we've already signed and bound our check.
Hasn't cleared yet.
Okay, so is it possible to shoot the commissioners an email to let us know, because that is an important thing, let us know when it's,
I don't think it's part of the commissioner's responsibilities to be the executive director. The executive director runs the port. We are here to set policies and oversee his job.
and I see this as an oversight situation.
I
I just want to make sure that we, that our port has insurance. I mean,
We're
gosh.
doing fine.
Well,
I also, I say it again, I don't think it's the commissioner's responsibility to have copies of,
oh, I didn't ask for a
Operation.
copy.
You
I
asked.
I said, could you just shoot us a thing when it clears? That's all. Not a copy of it. Just kind of say, hey, yeah, it's all good. We're good to go.
well, I think that should be in his report.
That's why I was asking him that. I wasn't asking for copies of anything. No.
Do I have a second?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
I'm going to go ahead and sign this down this
Unfinished
way and pass it
business?
towards you.
I think it's already
And
signed.
Just FYI.
Oh, it's already signed.
Oh, okay. Oh, well.
Minutes, you'll have to send them. Go ahead, sir.
Okay,
First
so
item
there's
on
only two
unfinished
signatures. I'm gonna
business
make a third
is
one,
food
so
bank.
We're all here.
Jay?
On our last meeting, we discussed the food bank and, or I guess the prior meeting, not the last meeting, the meeting before the prior meeting. And I followed up with the food bank, and they have decided to enter into a purchase agreement with the landowners.
Oh, great.
So they have, that's what the executive director indicated to me. and it appears that the work that had been discussed that was going to be triggered upon a sale seems to be happening, and so I would just assume that that's moving forward. I haven't followed up any further, but I just asked if they move forward with that purchase agreement with the owners, and they said
Good. All right. COVID vaccination
I was at the
plan.
seminar.
As we've all probably are aware, COVID. Oh yeah, you
I
did.
see.
You did. COVID is back in our community, and in fact, a couple members of our team have experienced some exposure. And so the question that I have to the board is, do we want to try to team up with the county again and do those vaccination clinics if they're going to do it? We also, I think we teamed up with the state as well
Yeah.
on a couple. Is that something that the board would be interested in us?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Now that will be open for all of our users and the people that are employed in the port, our employees, the oyster employees,
And people from the community.
and people from the community. Right on. That I think is a great idea.
And
Yep.
it was encouraging, today's story in the newspaper about that, yeah, there's a little bit of a rise, but we're really, 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 really low, and it's very minimal, and that in fact our health department guy who's in charge of the epidemic, that's not it, the epidemiology thing, said that he doesn't see it as a big concern, and in fact, the vaccines are still kind of being worked on, they're boosters, so that it doesn't appear as if it's really a big concern right now. And that of people reporting throughout the country, we're very low.
Good.
So that's all good news.
But it might be important to those that get,
No doubt. And anybody who wants to have a booster, what a nice option to tell them that there'll be a clinic set up here.
Can you put that in the paper when we have a date?
Yes.
I think that putting that in the paper will get it out to the community.
Yep. You could shoot it to the chamber and we'll get it out to them.
okay. New business. Consider approval of $200 increase in petty cash for fuel shack to $400.
I make a motion that we approve the $200 increase to petty cash for the fuel shack.
What's
I
it
second.
for?
Change.
Just be able to have a,
If an oyster barge comes out here and they need a part, we could run to Jack's, or we could, and if you have the cash, you just buy it and it bills them, right, Jake?
Yeah, and just with the cost of fuel when people fill up, recreational
Yeah.
users in particular, are dropping $100 bills, and so it only takes a couple of those.
to end up no
And
change.
we have a weird change basket, and so yeah, it just makes it easier. We've been running and getting change and stuff like that, but I think that'll tide us over, and I don't think it's extravagant. I think we've proven that we're excellent
It's only
stewards of
$400,
it.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Total of $400.
I have a question. Why are you buying parts for an oyster boat?
Why am
They
I?
have their own
Let's say
account.
they're up here in the yard, and they need something, and we can run and grab it for them.
Why are you running and grabbing for it? Time is money.
Well, we actually did. Let me just jump in here really quickly. We actually had a situation where a company from Olympia that picks up oysters here for at least 3 of the growers here had an issue with their engine, and one of our guys recognized what the problem is. Now, as soon as they as soon as they bring those oysters onto the boat, they have a time and temperature control that starts ticking, and so they were under a timeline, and one of our guys was able to run and get a part somewhere where we don't have an account. Jack's would be a place where we have an account, and then we put that on their boat, along with the time that our guys spend on anything. So any of the time that our employees spend working on something is billed. We have a bill.
You're going
out.
to charge it back to them?
Yeah, we have a bill out
Absolutely.
rate that is
Okay.
takes into account the full cost of that employee plus a little extra cushion, and so that's a tariff that we set so the guys that use this facility are aware of that list of tariffs, and then
So you charge them like $30 an hour, $40 an hour, whatever it is?
I believe at that time it was 45. It might be $50 an hour now, but I think at that time it was 45 when we did that, and that actually allowed that load to keep from having to go back into the water, and those guys missing that. And then there's a whole series and chain of things, like when an oyster company orders a load, they've already scheduled people and their cooling processes and all that. It's more complicated now than it has been prior, but yeah. That isn't really the reason we would be getting, the major reason, but that certainly has come up a couple times.
Okay.
And but that's not something that we usually do.
Wait.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah,
so
we
with
should
that,
be getting
we're
our,
gonna go to the vote and
the
pass.
chambers
Sure.
No,
too.
it's
Okay.
been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Did you second
Uh,
the
wait,
additional 200?
I think Phil must have, because I hadn't. We were talking about it, I was just waiting until we finished talking, and then, but we're talking about the extra money. This
Yeah.
is the one we're at. Yes.
Motion carried.
Oh, my.
All right, Executive Director's Report.
Right. We had two fantastic events here recently. This last, during this month, the Jazz and Oysters Festival and the Rhythm and Blues Festival, and both of them, I know Jazz and Oysters had a record turnout. I believe R&B did as well. I think those are preliminary numbers. We have also been busy getting ready for the winter, so it is not. We start thinking about buttoning this place up and getting it weatherproof and such early in our year, and so that has been an ongoing process, as well as dealing with some regulatory agencies where we're trying to work collaboratively and get some stuff handled so that we can expand our facilities over in our boat repair area. In addition to that, we will be. We don't know if we have another event here or not, but we went ahead and buttoned up the festival grounds in case we get a big wind event, and that's we're having this event out here due to COVID and just so we can enjoy the last bit of the sunshine here. I know that we have some folks on our staff, but also in the crowd who are either at a higher risk or have family members that are at a higher risk. So to that end, what we want to do is have our events in as spacious locations as we can on site here, and that would be the shop that is pretty spacious, but this obviously is a lot better. In addition to that, since we talked about it out here, as we do every year, we renew our insurance, we look for better rates, we benchmark, and in the end, this year we renewed our insurance with the two carriers that we had in the previous year. We have an outstanding record with both of them. We have never, I think, we haven't had a claim here in at least 12 years. And I think that claim was for $1,900. So we have an outstanding record, and on top of that, according to L&I, we're literally the safest port in the state. We have had 0 L&I claims in at least that long as well. So that's all I have.
Okay, I have a couple questions for our executive director. My fellow commissioners kindly provided me with something. I went to the seminar about staying in my lane, but here's the deal. When everything is going, policy and oversight is what our job is, and when things are having issues, I will ask more questions and I will try to find out more information because I believe that is our job. But I appreciate you guys thinking of me. But I do have it. It was all
Good.
it was all
Did you
really
read
good.
it?
I did.
Good.
But that's the best case scenario, which we kind of don't. So DOE came again, which was a surprise to me. Also, I believe that there's some consideration here that I was aware of this. I did when I got the report Friday. There is reference here to Emerald. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about what Emerald does for us.
They're our oil recycling company,
So they're the ones that come pick up the old oil?
Yeah, they do the old oil. They suck out our oil water separator. They pick up our oily water. Sort of contaminated
You know
water
what,
we have,
Jay?
so.
I called Emerald.
It's a lie.
You called Emerald?
I called Emerald.
Why?
I was curious because I am in a position of having things that are not true being told me. Emerald, we used them in 22 twice to come out and pick up the used motor oil, which is exactly what you said. And I said, well, but then you do other things for us. I wanted to be able to come and report that and verify it and everything, because we do need to rebuild our confidence. And he said, no, we don't. And by the way, our invoices are outstanding for 22. And then I said, well, okay, but 23, you're definitely, doing these things. And he said, no, the only thing we've ever contracted with the Port of Peninsula is motor oil pickup and used motor oil pickup, and that was in 22.
Not
So
only
there's a little-
have they already been here in 23, they're literally scheduled to be here in the next. Could be today while we're sitting
Yeah, he
here.
did mention
Hold
they
on,
hadn't
let me
been
go
here
ahead.
in
Let me go ahead and
July.
finish. So
Yeah.
literally, they're scheduled to be here probably today while we sit here, and on top of that, they're scheduled to do our oil water separator. It's going to be a training event for our team, and they're coming out to do that. And in addition to that, they're sampling our oily water, and they're going to pick that up. So,
Are you talking about the washout bay?
yeah, those barrels.
Yeah.
So, which is one of the big advantages of the way that we do that full containment washout, is that we're able to, once a vessel's washed off, then that water can be pumped to our containment for recycling and reuse for our filtration system. Then, if they have bilge water or they're doing internal cleaning on the engine replacement that's happening on the Jenny Lee, then that water the inside of that engine compartment can be cleaned, and that water can go down and it's fully captured in our wash bay, and then that water is pumped, that contaminated water, oil or grease contaminated, is pumped into barrels where it's held with a cap until we get a sufficient amount to warrant our recycler to come in and pick them up, because it can be quite expensive to just do one-offs. So to do all of that oil, I think is, and that oily water, I think is about 75 cents a gallon, and then there's a travel charge. So we want to keep those travel charges to a minimum. Same
Well, it
thing.
makes sense to group them.
Yeah. So that's what we've done.
Okay,
But yeah,
that's in process.
it literally.
These additional services, because they weren't ever done before. These are new.
Well, right. We weren't containing effluent from the inside of vessels before. So this is an evolution. So we had, once we got to, I don't know, 8 or 10 barrels or something like that. But Emerald has always, Clean Harbor, Clean Harbors, Clean Waterways,
I think they're kind of combined.
Columbia, well, they're separate though. Columbia Drain. These are all companies that we've dealt with in the past, and that we call when we contract stuff, so we can benchmark pricing.
So I've just heard this, and you're the person to ask. There is an idea of adding security cameras to the port.
Security cameras have been added to the port.
30?
I think 32.
32. What was the cost for that?
19 and change. I don't know what it's
19,000.
Yeah,
and
19,000.
change.
Yeah.
So, because I've never seen the thing that no, not the invoice. I'm sorry, the name is escaping me, but it's like the document that says this is how much Jay can, go ahead and do without.
I think all that was
I
done
thought
when
it
Mary
was
was
10.
here, right? No, it's 20,000.
Yeah, actually, we increased it during COVID. It's 20,000, so it was
Okay, because
increased
the
during
only
COVID.
thing I could find was 10, and that was from a long time ago,
Yeah,
so
we
I
upped that
didn't
when
know.
Mary was
Yeah,
along with
we
you.
upped it.
We need to update that.
Well, it's
That
been
whole-
Been
updated.
updated.
No, I don't mean the number. I mean the whole material, the whole document that says how the port handles things, their working orders or whatever it is.
Well,
It's not
Jay
just
bought
for
all
Jay.
the equipment when it was on sale.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about this specific thing. I'm talking now more
Yeah, it was
about-
actually a fantastic deal. It was
Yeah.
an unbelievable deal, to be
So
honest.
there were warranted reasons.
Yeah, so we periodically we have
theft and vandalism.
Exactly. And so our old camera system wasn't reliable and it was exceedingly expensive. And the guy who maintained it for us was retiring, and it would have just been unbelievably expensive to do it. And the technology is so cheap now, and it goes to 4K. In addition to that, we've also got a point to zoom, which is we're just sort of dialing in, but it's over there, and that thing, I think it can go 250 times. So I think we're going to be able to see base center, literally. So we're kind of getting that dialed in, and once that is fully dialed in, we'll put that on the website. And so we're
Oh,
super
people can
excited.
do it.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So we just got to dial it in and make sure it's not going to be it's wired
The
right.
camera system is very similar. To
How many
the one that I
times
watched
has there been a break-in or thefts here
It covers
in the last
everything
year?
from my mobile home
Oh, in the
park.
last year,
What's great about it is I had a
I don't know.
guy
I'd have to
who's
get that
in
number, but
7, he went
I
to
mean,
the
to find that 2 or 3.
Under Sheriff,
Yeah,
how many
2 or 3.
reports have you got for thefts or break-ins here in the last year?
Oh, yeah.
So I was able to get the license.
Huh?
I know of one that's
One?
From the.
Yeah.
I'd have to look on the.
And of course I
Yeah.
There have been 2 or 3 that have been reported.
He's saying one.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know if the individuals that are property owners have reported.
He's trying to talk.
One that I know of, but
Yeah.
like saying fishermen aren't the kind of guys that pull a lot of stuff.
I know, but these two.
Yeah, see, I only know of one, but like I said, I haven't researched it.
You've handled upcoming events.
What?
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't. I'm sorry.
So-
I want to just say, Jay, thank you for explaining that. That's the type of thing that is so important for our public to hear and know about, because.
Well, and the stuff that's
It's
written in the
important.
paper about Jay spending the public's money without authorization, that's totally false.
I don't think it's spending. I think it's more about putting things in situations, all those penalties that we've accrued, all of the potential.
Potential penalties.
Fees, and it said potential in there too. You know, the interest rates going up on things that we were late paying on. That's
Well,
what
I
it's
just know
talking
that
about.
the community that I talk to asks me a lot of questions about the port, and I said, don't believe anything you hear or read in the paper.
Yep, that's
If
what
you
we've
want to
heard.
know the truth, go talk to Jay.
Yep.
Another, I only have
Oh,
2 other
Jesus.
things. Where
It's
are
true.
we with replacing the broken selfie stick?
It's in queue. It took a long time to figure out what brand it was, and
Did you ask Chuck? I mean, he might know.
I can't tell you, Bill, because you have it.
Do we have a permit? Do we have a permit yet for the boatyard?
we're not a boatyard. We're a marine terminal.
No, we have been designated.
You have a
boat
repair yard over here.
We're and when our function gets to a point where we're more boatyard than we are marine terminal, then we go for the boatyard permit.
We were
Every time you
designated-
every time you sandblast a boat or clean the paint off, it has to be disposed of correctly.
It is. It's contained. Have you walked over there and looked at the system? It's
We
a
were
one-off,
designated
right?
a boatyard in 2018. And
It's okayed by the
they
state. Is that what you're
attempted
telling me?
for permit.
Is it okay by the state?
Yes.
We're
zero discharge.
literally in the middle of negotiations with the state for some expansion on our operations.
I heard
This-
at $14 million they're going to
This-
find you.
Well, you know,
Well,
they might
that's
as well
why you
write
don't believe
100
what
million, right? But listen, so
Okay.
here's the important thing. This isn't, because this has potential litigation. It's not something we can talk about in greater detail. But we are working collaboratively with the Department of Ecology to expand our facilities and maintain our rigorous safety standards and environmental standards. And as soon as we can update you guys more, and hopefully at the next meeting we can with some good news, that's what we'll do.
Okay.
And my last little question is from some of our users, our customers or whatever. There are still people that are not getting statements or
So
billing.
here's the deal. That is an absolute flat out lie. They get, since March, every single user has been getting an invoice. Every single time they use something, they sign it. And
Yes, they get the
no, they
yellow
get, yeah,
thing.
they get an
But what
invoice.
about for
That's
other
the
things,
invoice.
other services?
What about the
Everything.
statements?
That's the invoice. That is the invoice.
We haven't seen
All
a
right,
statement.
That is the invoice.
Okay, and
All right,
we haven't
people need
started
to
to
pay
do
their
statements?
invoices.
One at a time.
If you
Don't yell at
if
me.
you go somewhere and buy something, you need to pay
Let's
for it.
not.
Okay?
Oh,
You
I'm
don't
not.
need some other entity to do your accountancy for you. If you buy something and you sign for it, you need to pay for it. That's basic. And if people can't figure that out, then what they're going to have to do is pay as they take it.
Sorry.
Yeah, people need to pay as they get stuff. Nobody else gets to do that.
You got a question here over here, sir?
I don't need your help, Ed.
Well, apparently you do because you're
No,
not
I
paying
don't.
attention. Don't yell at me.
I'm not yelling. I'm telling you.
Uh-oh. You don't tell me shit.
So,
We don't have any more
Our
upcoming
county treasurer
events.
has a
and
question.
So, let's go.
We're not gonna
Okay.
acknowledge our county treasurer? We were talking about billing. Seems like it's a bad thing to
I
not
have a
do.
motion for adjournment.
I'll
Stand
make
up.
a motion that we adjourn.
I'll
I
second.
have a question.
Hey, I have a question over here.
All in favor?
I have a
No.
question.
No.
My vote is no.
I just checked with the office and the insurance payment has not cleared. And my other question is about what you guys were just talking about. Has mortgages and leases been billed?
Yes.
No, they haven't. I haven't seen
Yes,
them.
they have.
I've heard it from more than one, and they're not liars. I really think we've got an issue with the way that we don't do monthly statements. It would make everyone's life easier, including yours.
Is your life difficult with that? Okay. It has been moved and seconded for adjournment. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Jay, I would like to present the port with your plaque
Man,
for
thank you.
sponsoring the loyalty days.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I'll put it on the wall.
Save.